Believe Nation, what day is today? Happy Thursday, happy Thursday, happy Thursday. Thursday is my public facing day, so we're doing interviews and hangouts and podcasts all day long. I'm excited for this one because I'm going to be bringing in a special guest, and we're going to be learning. Lotta, welcome aboard. David M, welcome. Good to see you guys. We're going to be learning about some health today. We got a very special guest. I see him here in the chat, so we're going to bring him in. Got some questions for him. Maybe you guys have questions for him as well. And let's get to it. Waiting for him to connect here. There he is.
Well, hello there. How are you, Evan?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Phenomenal. Thank you very much.
Now, are you on your treadmill desk?
I am on my treadmill desk, if you want to call it that. It only goes like 2 miles an hour, so I can still type at the same time, you know?
I'm on a trampoline.
You're on a trampoline. I don't think the way that I type, I don't think I'd be able to multitask like that.
So I need, when I'm doing something like this or typing, I have to kind of put my arm on the desk just to control me, because otherwise I'd be bouncing all day long.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Like, I really love this treadmill desk. They actually don't make them anymore, this company In Movements. But I picked it up, and I just like to participate in some form of low-level activity during the day, and you'll be surprised when I'm in one of these conversations or on a podcast or something, I look down and I've done like 3 miles, so it's pretty cool.
And what's it set to? How fast?
It only goes 2 miles an hour.
Okay, only, that's it. That's the max speed.
That is it. So when I first got this, I thought, no, it's not very fast. Is it going to be any good? But you know what? It's the perfect speed for me to multitask and kind of work and type at the same time. It's got a big desk, so I'm happy with it.
Got it. I love it. Well, for ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know Chris, he's a legendary trainer, health expert, biohacker, and I thought I'd bring him on to talk about health for entrepreneurs, because a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs really struggle to keep track of their health. They're grinding all day on their business. And I love even what you're doing right now. Like, if somebody's working right now, they could be on the treadmill desk, working away, still being productive, and also taking care of their fitness goals.
Yeah, I think the major problem that a lot of entrepreneurs have is that they think they have to go to the gym or do some form of exercise for an hour. And if they don't have their hour, they don't do it. So what I like to do with a lot of my clients that, that are high level, or high stress businessmen, I'll get them to do micro workouts. So every 30 minutes or so, they go and do like a minute of burpees. And then they'll do a minute of sit-ups and then push-ups and standing squats and jumping jacks. And then by the end of the day, you've gone through quite a lot of calories, and it really does help with their blood sugar regulation. So their blood sugar is that much more stable, so they're not getting as many cravings, they're not eating as bad. So I find that seems to be the perfect entity for that. There is an actual bike called Carol AI, artificial intelligence as well. And basically, it's like a 5-minute workout, and that works very well with a lot of entrepreneurs.
I love it. Now, you just finished coming through a fast. Are you done the fast? Are you still on it right now?
I just broke it now, literally about 20 minutes ago. Yeah, 36 hours.
Okay, so fasting seems to have taken off. I've done a couple of them. My longest was early this month. I did 66 hours.
Wow, nice.
Of just water, coffee in the morning, but like black, and sea salt, like the pink sea salt.
Yeah.
And that's it for 66 hours. No, but this is something newer for you, right? Like, this is your first long-term fast?
No. I've been doing fasting for quite a while now, for a couple of years. Like, usually around 16 hours. The longest I'd gone was 20 hours. So last week I thought, you know what? There's a lot of people out there during this time of quarantine that are kind of losing their discipline at this time. They're eating more, they're not exercising, they're not sticking to a schedule. Even though they're at home, they're not getting up as early as they should be, So, I wanted to, put in a little bit more discipline into people's lives that can have a transcendence effect. So I thought, you know what, let's do something that a lot of people don't want to do. Let's fast. So we started like a little bit of a Facebook group, started off with a 24 last week, 36 this week. Next week, it'll be 48-hour fast. And then what I'm probably going to do is continue with that group, but then maybe every day we'll be doing cold showers, making sure that you're not hitting the snooze button or something else, because you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
And the group dynamic, I think, is super important to have other
Very
people who are
important.
doing it so that you're not feeling like you're all alone.
You know what? It's helped me for sure, because last night, I was hungry, and during the day I'm fine because I'm so busy. But during the evening, when you got time to think and I'm not sleeping as good because I'm hungry, that's when it's tough. But having that group dynamic and having that accountability, you're really putting your sincerity on the line. So I really like that. It's very powerful. It's a crowd source of inspiration.
Yeah, I love it. What are you telling people right now when they're struggling to stay on their routine and probably eating more than they should, and gaining that weight because they're out of their regular regimen?
Yeah, it all depends who I'm talking to at the end of the day. It's like if you think of team sports, which I never really enjoyed. I've always participated in individual sports because you can have a coach that just yells at people, and some of those team players enjoy that. They like that. They're receptive to it. But other team players need some encouragement. So I guess it all depends who you're talking to at the end of the day. But, for the most part, I'm just telling people, look, we are going to go back to normality. So do you want to be one step ahead? Because it's going to be difficult for a lot of people to get back into the economic climate, to get jobs if they've lost their jobs, or if they're on part-time or whatever it may be. They're going to have to be one step ahead of the curve. Use this time for introspective energy, because now we don't have to always be as distracted. So you can actually listen to your thoughts, get a little bit more creative. Don't have to have headphones in all the time. So you can actually, figure out exactly what you want to do and how you want to go about it. Unfortunately, like I've got a gym franchise that I own in India. They've all been closed down for the past, 8-9 weeks now. And my supplement sales from my supplement company has been down a little bit because we don't have the essentials that people consider, such as vitamin C, elderberry, and stuff like that. We have more sports performance. So I've had to sidestep and really work on my books and my online training, which the bandwidth is expanded, immensely, which is great. But I can only do that if I continue to focus and wake up in the morning at the time that I usually do, go to bed at 8:30 like I usually do, and stick to that routine of disciplinary action. Because funny you said that a lot of entrepreneurs don't have time to go to the gym. I wouldn't be an entrepreneur if I didn't go to the gym, because that gives me my AA batteries in the morning. It provides the discipline that I need to be structured. It provides the blood flow to my brain, so I'm more cognitive receptive. I flunked in school. I did terrible at school. I hated school. But it wasn't until I went to college to start studying health and sports therapy that I started to retain that content. And it's because I'd started exercising, feeding my brain and my body with better fuel sources. So whenever I do some talks at like universities, I tell people, it's great that you're studying. It's awesome that you are getting this education. But if you're not able to retain that content because you're feeding your brain and your body with the wrong information, then you're not going to retain it. So, that's part of the parcel.
So let's talk about some of the weird things that you do, or at least normal for you, but other people might seem weird. So you're on the treadmill, great. I mean, the cold baths are now becoming a lot more normalized, I guess, but the red light therapy, the coffee enema, I don't even know what that is. What are some of the weird things you do that you found actually has had a huge impact on your life?
Yeah, for sure. Well, you just named a couple of them, for sure. People would think it's a little bit tinfoil hat. I do like to ground myself, earth myself every day. So I do have earthing mats around the house, but at my desk as well. I sleep on an earthing mat, but if I have the opportunity to go outside, it's been raining all this week, I'll earth myself outside. And I find that's really good, especially during the time now we have so much EMF and Wi-Fi and X-rays and gamma rays around us. I think it's very important that we get a lot of the negative ions from the earth. So that's one thing. I actually have a person called Ryan Hoyer from Shielded Healing coming to my house this weekend, and he's a geobiologist, and he will go through the house to see the highest levels of dirty electricity, maybe in my bedroom. So we have to make sure that we can kind of mitigate that as much as possible. So that's one of the things. The infrared light therapy, yeah, sure. I think it's phenomenal. It really helps with my circadian rhythm so I can sleep better. And obviously if I sleep better, especially my REM, I'm going to be able to retain more memory, more cognitive function. So every morning I do have infrared panels shining on my balls and everywhere else. And, you know, it's good for the skin. But obviously, if I have the opportunity to go outside in the sun, then I'm going to get those restorative red lights there as well. I also wear these blue light blocking glasses for a couple of hours before, because, you know, much of our time is spent on computer monitors, on phone screens, TV, artificial light. So again, to release that melatonin so I can sleep and relax and not be stressed, you know, it all helps with the recovery, because we always think about go, 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 burning a candle at both ends. You know, let's see how hard we can work and how long we can work. But you can only do that if you optimize your recovery. So recovery is always at the forefront of my brain, so I can perform and be a little bit more efficient with what I put out. Let me see what else I have. PEMF, yeah, you mentioned the coffee enemas. I only do that once a week. I don't make that a daily habit. And, you know,
Is that a pill? Like, I don't even know what, I don't know if I want to ask. Do I want to ask what?
No. It's it goes in a different orifice, not the mouth. So the enema, much like you know, a colonic hydrotherapy, if you will, you know, you just do this from home, and you want to make sure that you're getting you wouldn't want to be putting Folgers up your butt. You want to make sure that you have a high grade coffee that is organic, that is mycotoxin free, because unfortunately in the US we have higher levels of mycotoxins in our grains, in our coffee, in our wines. So if you're mold sensitive, then that's definitely going to have a negative impact.
So, but is it like coffee, like a pill coffee that you put it? Is it the liquid? Like how you?
Yeah, so you grind it, put it in a French press, fill up that French press, then you put it in a proper enema kit. Okay. And then you can lie on the floor in your bathroom or wherever you want. And then you just slowly allow this coffee, you know, because obviously the container has to be higher than you for gravity to take it up the butt. Yeah, so it's a rectal. You take this coffee, and then you just hold it there for about 15 minutes, and then you go to the toilet, and you feel clean as a whistle after.
And so why coffee instead of just water or something else? I'm just curious, like, what's the benefit you're seeing?
Yeah, you get like a lot of selenium. You're going to get a lot of polyphenols that you're not going to get out of water. And, you know, there's very few studies that do show this. But I've noticed that my liver enzymes do decrease. The inflammatory responders in my liver do decrease from doing coffee enemas. And, you know, I learned this from my friend Ben Greenfield. So I just been following that protocol, and it worked for me. So if it works for me, I'm going to do it. It's not something that I tell people to do. You know, you got to figure these things out yourself.
It's like this, it's the like, how deep into Chris's world do you go, right? Like the starting point is the diet and the working out and maybe ice baths, and then we start going more. I mean, I love that stuff. I think people write it off as tinfoil hat, but just why don't you just try it for a week and just see if it works for you? Yeah,
for sure. The fundamentals have to be in place. Unfortunately, in the biohacking world, people who have money see these shiny objects and get everything and think they're going to live to past 100 years old. But without the fundamentals of your sleep, your hydration, good food, you know, organic, humane raised, wild caught, etc., and, you know, really focusing on those stress levels, those stress hormones. So waking up in the morning, make sure that you're not reacting to your phone. Maybe you start the day with meditation, mindfulness, and manifestation. You know, all these things are going to have an impact that are free. And then you can look at the shiny objects of, you know, and then you can start quantifying. So I wear an Aura ring, which tells me what my deep sleep cycle is, what my REM is. So you can see actually what is working and what isn't. I do wear a 24-hour blood glucose monitor as well. I'm not diabetic, but that tells me, you know, what sort of implications certain foods or environments have on my blood sugar variability. So if I have an ice bath in the morning, my blood sugar levels are much more stable. And I've noticed as well, because it tones your vagus nerve, you're much more emotionally stable as well. So you're able to react to certain situations, especially if you're an entrepreneur, much better with more clarity than you would otherwise.
So it's constantly measuring your blood sugar level?
24/7, yeah. So you've got an app on the phone. There's two that I wear. There's one called the Nacho Libra, and the other one is called a Dexcom 6. The Dexcom 6 is a little bit better, you know, a thinner needle, so it's not as uncomfortable, and I'll stay there for about 5-6 days.
Wow. That's wild. So it's just always in you.
Always, yeah. So you throw it like in the back of your arm. You can put it in your waist. I don't wear it on the waist because I wear a weights belt when I go to the gym, you know, and it can be uncomfortable if I'm going running or anything like that. So the back of the arm seems to be pretty good. It's specifically for diabetics, you know, so they don't have to keep pricking their finger. And because I type so much, I don't want to be pricking my finger every day.
Makes sense. And then, so for the sleep ring, I'm always curious, what changes have you made? So great. So you know that you didn't get enough REM sleep last night. How do you then use that and make a practical change to your life so that you fix the sleep result?
So I always look to see what I did the night before that may have impacted it. So this is how I kind of got into biohacking initially, because I went to Dr. Spinald's clinic in Oldsmar, Florida for 6 weeks because I had mold toxicity from when I was living in Mumbai, India, which led to me only having like about 3 hours sleep a night. It was horrendous.
Wow.
But I had that typical entrepreneur spirit where I don't care. I'm still going to run my businesses. I'm going to outwork everybody. I'm going to out-train everybody. Go, go, go. And, you know, I wasn't a good person to be around. So, you know, I expended all of my options when it came to natural therapies, natural supplementation, even some types of medication. And when I went to Dr. Spinald's clinic, I found out about this mold toxicity. And following that, the 6 weeks there, severe detoxification protocol, I really started quantifying everything. And sleep was obviously one of the major things. So I've worn the Whoop, I've worn the BioStrap, the Aura, I find is really, really good for sleep. And the changes that I make come from supplementation, like magnesium is something that we are all pretty much deficient in today. So making sure that I have plenty of magnesium in the diet or supplement with it. You can even bath in it.
Which magnesium are you using?
There's a company called Calm. That's a magnesium, but the one that I use is by a company called Bioptimizers, and they have a magnesium that I think is very efficacious, but also bathe in magnesium flakes as well, you know. And if I go, so there's a place here called Stillwater Float, and they do float therapy. And I don't know if you've heard of float therapy tanks.
Yeah. Is it in total darkness too?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's it. So sensory deprivation. So
Yeah.
occasionally I'll go there, and it's like 1,200 pounds of magnesium that you're floating in. So you get a good night's sleep after that, you know. But there's certain types of CBD that I'll take, you know, but at a very high dose, like 100 milligrams, to help with the deep sleep cycle as well. And tryptophan I have found as being the number one supplement at about 1 to 2 grams to really help with their sleep.
All right.
And obviously, further from the supplementation, having a weighted blanket, making sure the room is completely dark. If not, you're wearing an eye mask. Yeah, the bed has to be of high quality, obviously, because we spend, you know, nearly half of our time in it.
They said you got a book coming up. I know you've done some others in the past. So what's the new book all about?
Well, the book is just released. This one's just released. It's called Man of Iron. So it's all on like hybrid athleticism, because a lot of people that are into bodybuilding, they don't think that you should do any endurance. And a lot of endurance athletes believe that you shouldn't do any strength training. So I kind of merged both of them together, because I've always done cardio every day, twice a day, even as a bodybuilder and a bigger person. And a lot of people, including my peers, told me that it shouldn't be done. You should be a static ornament and just contain all these calories that you're eating. However, I felt that, you know, the most important muscle that we have is not just our pecs or our delts, it's our heart. So I've always worked my heart. And so I decided to prove a lot of people wrong by saying, okay, I'm going to give myself 6 months to do something extreme. What's extreme? An Ironman triathlon. So I went to the lab, did all the tests to show that I wouldn't lose any muscle. I increased my FTP, my lactate threshold, and I actually put on just under 1 pound of muscle during that 6 months. But I've continued to do Ironman and ultra marathon and Spartan, but still train like a bodybuilder as well. And so a lot of people have actually got into hybrid athleticism now. And the book is all about how to do both, but remain injury-free. Because funnily enough, more people get injured, like runners, for instance, as opposed to strength-trained athletes or bodybuilders or powerlifters. So that's something that I wanted to put out there to show that you can do both. because so many people said, yeah, I took up kind of strength training, but I had to give up running. Or a lot of people started running and vice versa. So, you know, you don't have to give up both. And I love actually doing both. I'm not going to excel in each one of them, but we can participate.
And for injury prevention, is it the stretching? Is it just the frequency? Is it the muscle building? Like what, what do you recommend?
Again, it comes down to recovery, optimizing recovery. So sleep, making sure that you're getting all the right nutrients into your system, you know. So if I'm going out on a bike ride and I'm going for like 100 miles, I'm not taking a couple of gels with me. I've got a little backpack and I actually have my supplements. I have food in there as well. So it's kind of like a traveling buffet, if you will. But, you know, for instance, when very few of us are going to get injured on a bike or swimming. It's usually running. So I usually recommend that people, if they have the opportunity, they'll either run on a curved treadmill or on the trails as much as possible. Only do the solid work when you're doing more, you know, race specific towards the end of that cycle, and do a lot of ankle rotations and a lot of mobility work with the metatarsals in your feet, because the metatarsals in your feet are your suspension. But because we wear trainers the majority of the time, our feet switch off. And we need to turn them back on and improve the flexibility within those bones. So I suggest people wake up in the morning and start rolling to begin with, like on a tennis ball. And then they can move up to a golf ball. And usually when people stand on a tennis ball for the first time, it's extremely painful because that connective tissue in the foot has just become so tight. But if you think about it, and you see people who are barefoot runners, especially trail runners, their feet are more like claws. They're more like hands. And that's how we're supposed to be.
So are you running in the Vibram shoes or the barefoot shoes?
I have the Vibo barefoot on me right now.
Okay.
Right now.
We're gonna see it. This is it.
Yeah.
Oh, what are those? Oh, are those the Japanese ones that wrap?
No, the Vibo barefoot. These are Vibo barefoot.
Oh, Vibo. Okay.
Yeah, but I do have the Vibrams as well. I actually have the Vibrams. So here's a nice little hack for you, with something called an earthy strapped to them. So it's like a bar, like a sticky bar that bends, that goes from the inside of your foot to the outside of your sole. So for instance, if you're flying, I know that you travel a lot, very little opportunity usually for you to earth yourself, especially if you've been up on the plane, surrounded by the gamma rays and people on Wi-Fi, people on phone, and then you have to go straight to your hotel. And then you go straight into your taxi or whatever it may be. You don't earth yourself because you're wearing rubber soles. So these bars, my fiance just brought this to me now, they actually stick from the inside of your foot and connect with your foot to the outside. So it's like that. So I usually wear these with my Vibrams or my Vibo barefoot. So there's a little biohack for you. Because the chances of you actually going out and putting your feet on the grass, especially if you're traveling and you're working, you know what it's like. You don't even see daylight. So that really helps. And another little biohack, if you're not seeing daylight because you're just seeing hotels and conference rooms, there's a handheld infrared device called the Juve Go. And I don't have it in here, I've just got the box. But then you can actually shine the restorative red light on your face into your retina in the morning, at night. So when you do go into that new time zone, you're able to get into it that much more because you're telling your brain, okay, it's sunrise, it's dusk.
I love it. This is all great. I got lots of notes I gotta start researching and working on. Now quickly tell me about YouTube. I mean, that's where most of my audience is. That's where people are gonna watch this video as well. You've got so much knowledge, you're still learning, you're still applying. Are you bringing it to YouTube? Is it a platform you care about? What are you up to there?
Yeah, I definitely need to do more on it. There's definitely more that I need to do. I was kind of old school and I started on Facebook, and I was even really pushed to start Facebook because I was like, fan page? Why do I want a fan page? But I got over 1 million followers there, but I never really put the time and effort that was needed into YouTube, because I do understand if I'm to provide education, then YouTube is going to be the best platform in order to do that. So I'm actually starting that process a little bit more seriously now. And there seems to be a lot that I don't know in regards to, you've got to have a certain thumbnail, the tags, the text has to be correct, something that's attractive. So I want to try to cross off all those P's and Q's before I dive into it. You know, up until now, I've more so dabbed my toes. So I might be coming to you for some advice there.
I'm happy to, man. Cross off the P's? I've never even heard of that. How are you crossing off a P or a Q? The
P and the Q is maybe it's a British term.
Yeah, I'll probably, but like, where does it, how does it, what are you crossing? Because usually it's cross off the T's. That's what we would say.
Ah, right.
Because you cross off a T.
I think it's like a Cockney term.
P's and Q's. All right. Yeah, I mean, the YouTube's great because the content lives forever. Because whatever you make, like whatever you post on Instagram, nobody cares in 3 days and 2 days.
Yeah, exactly.
But YouTube, the videos from 5 years ago could still be getting you views and attention and traffic and interest. And just in speaking with you in the depth of knowledge that you have, there's so many things. I'm sure whatever question, like you have an answer with decades of experience on, would be a great format for you. Even just sharing your thoughts without making it look super fancy in the editing, because the quality content is more just what's in your brain and your head and your experience.
Yeah, exactly. And from what I understand, it seems to be expanding on that platform as well now. Obviously, you've got the YouTube Live. And like there's YouTube stories that I've been told as well. Yeah, YouTube stories. So I really need to take a deep dive into this platform. You know, when it comes to a lot of the advancements, when it comes to technology, I'm not very good. I need someone to tell me, so then I'm directed to do it. And but you're right, you know, like, you know, if you're going to Google search something, the chances of it coming up with an Instagram post is going to be very little. YouTube is going to be very high.
Instagram is fast, it's candy, it's caffeine, right? YouTube, because you're trying to build something, like you're building a legacy here. You've been doing this for so long, but you're also not done anytime soon.
No, I feel like I've just got started. Yeah, for sure.
The message, like if you said, hey, I want to pump and dump this thing, I just want to build my fitness brand up for the next 3 months and then move on to something else, then forget YouTube. But because like this is a legacy play, like your grandkids will be watching the videos that you make.
Yeah, but I'll have to be careful with my language. Yeah?
It's been pretty good. Yeah, I think you would crush it. I think you would crush it. Not just from the you know, lifting weights and training side, but the mental side, the science side. I think you bring it down in a way that makes it easy to understand and entices kind of curiosity that it's not tinfoil hat. Like I want to try this stuff out. So
yeah, and has that always been your focus? This is going to be my primary platform in order to get my message out. Is that where you've always come from, or did you start more so on Facebook or Instagram? You know, where did you direct a lot of your information to from the very beginning?
I started on my website, so that was, and then Google and SEO, people searching and finding stuff. Then I moved heavily to LinkedIn and Facebook. Right. But I fell in love with YouTube because one, it's a visual. I'm a visual guy. I'd much rather see something.
Yeah, me too. I'm the same.
I'd much rather see something. If this was an audio interview, I'd be here with my eyes closed, just like really trying to listen, because auditory is the worst for me. So being able to see you helps. And so making videos, especially long form, YouTube is a natural place. But the thing that really sold me on it is that the videos you make in a year, 5 years, are still getting views, and they don't just disappear.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, one thing that I've been messing you know, this will probably be another conversation offline, but I've got a knowledge and mileage podcast, it's called, and you know, I've been toying with the idea. Okay, if I'm going to start going heavily into YouTube, do I have a separate channel for the podcast? Because maybe not everybody wants to watch the podcast. A couple of talking heads. Maybe people aren't searching me for that particular content of whoever I'm interviewing or whatever. So maybe I should have a completely separate channel or put it all into that. But you know, that's another conversation again.
Yeah, really, you're just thinking audience. Like if there's enough of an overlap, then I would say keep it on the same channel, especially if you're not producing enough content for the main channel. And then just see, like if all your fitness stuff does well and the podcast just always tanks every time, then maybe move to a different channel. But right. Typically, if it's a similar audience, you keep it on the same channel. If you said, I want to make a new channel where I'm going to be speaking Russian, great. Like that's a different channel. Yeah. Right? You don't put it, it's just different languages, different audience, different channel. But
yeah, exactly. I was going to say, because like I said, I got a gym franchise in India. And there's a lot of people that I know that are high-level influencers, but whenever they put out content in the English language, it doesn't do that well. But when they put it in their native, like Hindi language, millions.
Yeah.
So they've all converted to that particular culture to feed the content, because in India, obviously, you've got so many people, not only just in the country, around the world, that still talk the native language.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy how fast time flies, man. It was awesome having this conversation. You gave me a whole bunch of homework I need to get in on. Anytime you want to talk YouTube, I'm happy to help. I mean, been on it for 11 years. We got 2 million subscribers plus, and love to see
phenomenal.
you.
I checked it out. Very, very impressive. You know, congratulations. Hats off to you.
I love to see you blow up there too. I think your message is just as important and can change the lives of so many people. And for people who are watching this live or on YouTube, they want to dive deeper into your world, or buy the book, like what's the next step you want them to take?
It's probably best if they just come to my Instagram, to be honest with you, Chris, K-R-I-S, Gethin, G-E-T-H-I-N, and they can find everything that I'm about there. But maybe next time we have a conversation, I'll be directing people to my YouTube.
There we go. I love it. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate all the wisdom and time and everything you're doing.
Hey, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Thank you, man.